In the previous video, I talked about mindfulness. Today, I'd like to introduce you to a much lesser-known practice, conscious autosuggestion. It's the second pillar of MAJi. I call it the ugly duckling of psychology. To understand why, we need to go back to its origins. Conscious autosuggestion was developed in the early 20th century by a French pharmacist named Émile Coué. While working in his pharmacy, Coué noticed that the effectiveness of a treatment depended greatly on whether the patient believed in it or not. He even observed that an inactive product could work if the patient believed in it. This is the placebo effect. It is so powerful that even today, in order to prove that a medication actually works, researchers have to demonstrate that it performs better than a placebo. Coué recognized its potential and developed a theory to explain it. This is how he described it. According to Coué, there are two beings within each of us. On one side is the conscious mind, the seat of our will. On the other is the unconscious, which manages the functioning of our entire body without us even being aware of it. Coué claimed that our unconscious mind always wins over our will. In other words, it is ultimately our unconscious that makes us act, whether we want it to or not. And if our unconscious believes that an organ or a bodily function is working well or poorly, that belief can strongly influence how it actually functions. That's the placebo effect. But according to Coué, despite its power, the unconscious has one weakness. It is extremely gullible. In other words, it tends to accept what we suggest to it without questioning it. And here's the key. Even though the unconscious always prevails over the will, we can still influence it, simply by talking to it. To activate this effect more broadly, Coué proposed guiding the unconscious mind toward greater well-being by using one particular phrase. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. And to help this phrase become embedded in the unconscious, he recommended repeating it 20 times every morning and every evening, without making any particular effort to concentrate, but loudly enough to hear yourself saying it. He called this conscious autosuggestion. It became very successful in France and abroad. Many accounts describe the wide-ranging effects of conscious autosuggestion, particularly on conditions influenced by the mind: depression, anxiety, insomnia, phobias, pain, sometimes with remarkable results. But just like mindfulness, this isn't something you can truly understand on an intellectual level. You have to experience it. I experienced it myself 20 years ago. For me, it felt like a genuine rebirth. For those who are interested, you'll find on my website the complete list of conditions concerned, taken directly from Coué's observations. Despite its promising results, the scientific community dismissed conscious autosuggestion as too simplistic. Coué's work was caricatured, and conscious autosuggestion became known simply as the Coué method. Today, in France, using the Coué method has become an expression journalists use to mock overly reassuring claims. And in popular culture, people tend to think it simply means refusing to face reality. Yet, Coué highlighted something extremely useful: our ability to guide our unconscious. It has nothing to do with escaping reality. In fact, conscious autosuggestion, which many people consider absurd, bears a striking resemblance to another practice, one that is far older and much more widespread: prayer. Prayer also involves repeating specific phrases on a regular basis, and its psychological benefits have been scientifically documented. All the world's major religions today rely, at least in part, on prayer. And if prayer produces effects, regardless of which god is being invoked, it seems likely that these effects do not come from the deity itself, but rather from a common psychological mechanism activated by prayer. The very mechanism Émile Coué theorized. So I believe that prayer reinforces faith in believers in much the same way that conscious autosuggestion guides the unconscious. This could help explain why religions based on prayer have spread so widely, something that might not have happened to the same extent without this practice. Ultimately, conscious autosuggestion can be seen as a secular form of prayer, a version that works directly with the mechanisms of the mind, without dogma or mysticism. And that's why I call it the ugly duckling of psychology. This practice, long dismissed and ridiculed, may in fact be one of the most powerful tools we have for influencing the unconscious. And in the next video, I'll show you how autosuggestion phrases can be adapted to make it easier to access mindfulness.